Hey guys, this is Gob Talk episode 4, and today joining us is Ziggy. Hi
Hi.
Ziggy.
Hi, Gab.
Yeah,
I forgot to ask you what we're going to talk about today.
it doesn't matter because we're gonna figure it out as we go.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. So it's episode 4 already?
that's right. This is the fourth episode.
Wow. You had like 3 people before me.
That's right. Three people. And there'll be a fifth person and a sixth person, and it'll keep going. And it'll turn into hundreds of interviews, just like Joe Rogan's podcast. He really inspires me
Yes, goals.
because he's also allowing people to express themselves at levels that they can't on any other platform. Like if you're on the news,
Yeah,
you got 3 minutes and then you're out. But there, you
yeah.
got 3 hours. You can just
Go
really
as
develop your
much as you
ideas.
want. Yeah. Did you watch the one with Edward Snowden?
Oh yeah, that was so good.
Oh, so good. So good. I was like, Edward Snowden has a wife? You think like he's the single guy who's like escaping from the empire and everything, right? But he has a wife and a kid while he's hiding out in Russia. It's so crazy. Yeah. Oh,
That's the price he has to pay
he has to pay for what?
for telling the truth.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because he
yeah.
had a wife before. He
No, it's the same wife.
exactly like she was loyal to him through all this shit. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta find someone like that, when you're in freaking asylum. What do you call it? Exile? When you're in exile,
Absolutely. She
you know?
probably really helps him emotionally.
Yeah. I had this like client recently who is in politics, and he was asking me exactly this question, and he was like, there's a chance that I'm gonna be effed up by the government. Like one day. Um, and I'm worried that I can't find a partner because of that. And I'm like, you should find someone who is okay with that, right? And who maybe even sees that as like a super romantic story. Like I am going to call you when you're in jail for, revolting against the empire or something like that. Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, now you're talking about it, it's so interesting because the topics that I was thinking of talking about before was truth, the value of truth, and also like our connection to the cosmos, which is something that I'm really, really coming into this year. 2020 was like a year where I really woke up to the external world and all the conditioning, societal conditioning that I had. So it's interesting. Um, like I realized that how deep it goes when they say like the entire society is narcissistic and it promotes narcissism. The structure is set up in a way that narcissists win,
Yep.
and um, that filters down to personal relationships. In
Yep.
that, like if you want to succeed, if you want to do well in society, you need to be a little bit narcissistic. So then, in your relationships, that tendency continues, and you want to win in your relationships, and then you become narcissistic. Um, and it's helped me so much in the sense that like I don't feel so victimized by all of the partners that was like, you're not treating me properly, you're being a narcissist, blah 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 blah. I don't feel so victimized by that anymore because I realize that an entire society is like that. And it's inevitable that it's going to filter into everything. It's also empowering in a sense because when you're dealing with your own relationship problems, it feels like you're the only person dealing with that, even though you know that there are other people who are dealing with that. I've never felt that direct connection before of like, okay, me working on my boundaries and standing up to people in relationships, in my personal relationships, actually directly relate to me standing up in society and fixing the bigger societal problems within myself. So that was very, very interesting. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, I'm letting you speak. I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, please interrupt me. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just like speaking into nothing. I don't know if you're understanding or not.
I think you're judging yourself too much. What you said is good.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you because too
Thank
many
you.
times I'm watching interviews and I'm like, why does the interviewer keep interrupting the interviewee? I'm like, please let me hear what the interviewee has to say. I don't care about the interviewer's opinion. So
Yes.
I was in that vibe where I'm like, shh, cop, shh,
Yeah.
silence. Because when you put words out there, you prevent Ziggy from expressing words. So I was like, shh. And then you're
That's a
getting
good.
self conscious. I'm like, so yeah,
Yeah, that's
we're ju-
my
why judge
thing that I'm
ourselves?
dealing
Why
with.
judge ourselves? Just be in this moment. Like
Yeah.
with that
See,
bell, the
that's
Ziggy
another
Ziggy
thing.
bell. Let's hear the bell.
Yeah. Like that's another thing I'm so used to people interrupting. When you grow up with fucking narcissists in your life, you're just like, oh, why are you
It's
not
so
interrupting?
true.
Why am I giving space to speak? What do I do with this space? Yeah. Anyways, so from that realization of like the entire society is fucking narcissistic, I found a lot of evidence to prove it as well. In terms of like astrology, we're actually in the era of narcissism, which is Capricorn. We're in like a Capricorn phase the last 15 years or so. No, actually from since 2000. So we've been in like a Capricorn phase and now we're moving into no, sorry. We're in a Taurus phase, which is all about accumulation of wealth. But the thing is, the accumulation of wealth is built on a bigger era of collapse. We're like collapsing on the 2000 year some cycle, right?
The dumpster fire. That is
The
2020.
dumpster fire. Yeah, so it's almost like our job as a generation or even a couple of generations of people is to like figure out how to deal with collapsing, right? How to deal with like this because we're going down. It's inevitable. Or kind of on or it's like you have a heart attack, you have diabetes, and then now you found out you have cancer as well. So like we're going down as a society. Unless we do something really, really drastic, we're not gonna go up. So we gotta go through this destruction process of death, and literally like rotting into the soil and being rebirthed again. So how do we mentally and physically, emotionally deal with that, um, and still, have some will to continue living, because like it's almost normal in this society to be a little suicidal because of how bad it's going, like depression. um if we look at the systematic structures and everything that's set up, it's not set up for the well-being of people. It's set up for like people on top to make
Yep,
money.
exactly.
For the last 2000 years, we've been in the age of Pisces, which is about like faith, religion, but also like literally like imprisonment.
Yeah.
So since like Jesus happened, we've been in this cycle of being more and more imprisoned
The culture
and
of
trapped.
slavery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's
Um,
peaking right now.
I think it's already peaked. It's like going down right now.
Really? With all the loss of freedom? We're more free than
That's
before?
like the last straw, almost. You know, like from this, that depends on how you think about it as well. Like, yes, there are physical limitations in terms of freedom, but intellectually, and in terms of like how much information we have access to, and the ability to grow spiritually right now is at all times high because of the because of decline of religion first. The access now we have to spirituality, but not only through other people, but like through ourselves, right? um we're no longer relying on a priest or a pastor to connect to God for us. We're connecting it through our connecting to God through our intuition, through our own like means, right? We're finding out about spirituality on the internet. Everyone around us is awakening.
Yeah, I've
um
also noticed that psychedelics are becoming more mainstream.
Psychedelics,
I keep hearing like
ayahuasca.
microdosing, mushrooms, LSD. People are getting back into this. It's amazing. You're right.
Yeah,
There's a
you
spiritual
know.
evolution going on, but as you said,
Yeah,
it's accompanied with destruction. So it's like the 2020s are gonna be this destructive.
until 2025.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the what the
but
time
absolutely,
cycle
you need
says.
this phase of destruction to recreate it, to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Like when you're working out, you tear up your muscles and then they get rebuilt stronger.
Yes.
So we're actually becoming stronger, but it doesn't appear that way because when you look at it in this small sliver of time, you just see the destruction. You don't
Yeah.
see the growth that's waiting to
Yeah.
happen post
You
destruction.
know, when we're in ayahuasca ceremony, when you're throwing up
Yeah.
and you're purging, like that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, yeah, purging. It does feel that way.
Yeah. Like all of the shadows coming out, right? That was 2020, like all
People
of
are
the society
terrified.
shadows
Yeah.
coming out. And yeah, you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna like just be screwed up for a while, right? And that's what, and but then after that, you have the truth of things, and then you're able to like actually integrate the truth into your life, and that's what we're moving into, right? I feel like 2021 is gonna be like that day after ceremony where
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, still feeling like I just threw up yesterday. But I'm not throwing up right now. It was yesterday.
Yep.
Even though there's still puke everywhere and I have to clean it up. But it's better than
You missed the
being
bucket.
actively
You missed the bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's 2021, like I don't I posted, have you seen that video of this woman who recorded this aerobics. She was recording an aerobics video in Myanmar, and there was this like military coup going on behind her. There was like freaking military convoys driving, in the background with guns on top. And she was just like going at it, aerobics. And she was like, I didn't even realize I was just recording this video for an aerobics competition. And she, it was so funny. Yeah, so that's 2021 for me. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, 1 month down, 11 more to go.
Right? Oh my god. Well, yeah. I think more than ever though, it's gonna be important for us to focus on the truth.
Yeah.
Um, that love is truth quote that we got from ceremony. That's like coming back again and again and again for me, because you can't.
Love is truth.
Love is truth.
Wow.
Love is truth. If you want to love someone, tell them the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to love yourself, tell yourself the truth.
Yeah, that's right.
If you want to build anything out of love, you have to build it on the truth. And it may be destructive if you've been building something on lies for a while, and now you're like switching over. But on the long run, it's gonna be better and more solid and more unconditional, more abundant. Because truth is what connects us to the divine. Really, if you're working on based on truth, you're connected to the positive side of things. And if you're working based on lies, you're literally going to be connected to the devil energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And stress energy.
And stress and even addictions.
Yeah. Because then it's bothering you that I have to maintain this lie. Then you have to come up with lies to maintain that line. It's just energy drain.
It takes up energy, yeah. Yeah. So I almost feel like people are becoming more and more sensitive as well.
Right.
Including myself. Like right now, I do one thing wrong and I can feel the addiction kicking back in. I'm like, I want sugar. Or like, I want to smoke weed. And then I'm like, why is that happening? And then I realized, something earlier that happened that is stressing me out. Or this like ongoing situation is stressing me out.
You mean COVID?
A lot of things.
A lot of things, yeah.
A lot of things. Actually, like COVID is the least stressful thing right now.
Wow. Okay.
For me, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. Like I mean, it amplifies everything else, though. So that's I guess where it kicks in. But like for me, I think my stress right now, especially considering I'm trying to like grow my career as an astrologer, psychic, medium, is this judgment from my parents, especially from my dad, who is such a 9-to-5 proper job person. Like he worked in the newspaper 20 years ago, you know.
The newspaper
and he's still
is dead.
Working in a newspaper now, and we all know that industry has been dying probably since he got in.
Yeah.
So he's been in there since it was dying, He's completely like anti innovation, like new things. And this psychic
Anti-internet.
thing, yeah, just I don't know if so this psychic healing mediumship thing for him is just completely a joke. It's completely a joke for him. And dealing with his voice in my head, because I literally like, because of this whole thing, like I just didn't talk to him. I know that I have this anticipation of it not going well, and this like so now I have internalized his voice, and now his voice is in my head, judging me every moment, right? So dealing with that little voice has been really hard. Building a potential empire, right, where we're helping people, a business, of a good business of, well, not good, but like a business of helping people, really, I think
Yeah,
is
and
what
with
I'm
the
trying to do
internet,
here.
you can reach everyone instantly. It's
Exactly.
unbelievable. Like you don't even need to be in the same room as them.
Yeah. And it's like actually a business.
Of
It's
course.
not just a joke. uh it's so interesting because I've been connecting with other psychics and mediums weekly now. We meet on Zoom through this like spiritualist church, and there are a lot of skills and techniques to doing this stuff properly. Um, and to think about it on a sense of like, how can you help the most people in the most effective way while keeping yourself alive, right?
Right.
It's not about like sacrificing yourself for a few people and then die,
Yeah. Or for your
right? How,
country. How
yeah,
many people give up their lives for their country, as in the rulers of their
yeah,
country?
yeah, right. But then like how many people are like suppressing themselves
Everyone, everyone,
for
everyone,
the because of the government told them so,
everyone,
or
everyone.
you
People
know?
are scared to even say a word, or else they're gonna
Yeah,
disappear.
yeah. And then it's like, do we live in China? Like, what's happening? We're supposed to be in a free country,
Well, that's an
um,
illusion.
free-ish.
It's
You
an
know, I
illusion.
yeah, it's an illusion, right? Because I feel like in China, for example, they're not gonna limit you based on money or prosperity, but they're gonna be like, we're gonna like fuck you and your family up for the next 12 generations. If you
We're gonna be around a long
we're gonna be
time.
around. And then in the Western world, it's more like, we're not gonna give you enough money to do enough things. You're just gonna be in a constant state of financial slavery.
Yeah, negative cash flow debts, and servicing those debts.
Yeah,
You become a
and
slave
debt.
to debt.
Yeah, and it's like, which one's worse? Um, like being unable to speak out against the government or things are doing gone wrong, or being unable to do what you want to do because you don't have money and you're going to get evicted the next day if you don't do what people want you to do. um so in a way, it's almost like, I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual community expect our lives to be so much better than they already are, because there's this like utopic mentality, right? Of like, life should be like this. um God told me so. I studied spirituality, and like theoretically it should be like this. But then at the same time, we're dealing with like 2,000 years of a freaking narcissistic system um that's literally crippling us. And how much can we expect from this one lifetime of like ascending um and integrating that kind of higher knowledge, right? Of actually changing our lives and making our lives more uh like the utopic version that we're envisioning. So I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a big stretch to demand anything close to the utopic vision within this life, within my lifetime at least, because I'm not gonna be alive in 202160 to wait for the net to actually see the next era. um and changes are going to be happening now, of course, to prepare for the next era, but um most of this our lifetime is going to be the chaos, right? So in terms of like our expectations, and mostly in terms of like judging ourselves, right, because we're not meeting that expectation, needs to be like really seriously examined.
Yeah, the expectations are part of our conditioning. There's an
Mm-hmm.
expectation to be successful, productive, have a family, buy a house. It's just exactly, we need to examine these
Yeah,
expectations. And maybe you say, why do I even have these expectations? Can I drop them and be here now and just
yeah, and
do
live better,
live
right?
better doing what I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of courage. It takes courage.
Yeah, and there's also this thing where sometimes we think like what we want to do is just for ourselves, like it's the selfish desire. um but what I've recently come to really realize and feel in my body is that this thing that I want to do is a lot bigger than just me.
Exactly.
Literally, the universe wants me to do it.
Exactly.
And the universe needs me to do it.
Yes.
Um, so if we think about it in that perspective, like your parents objecting you is nothing. It's like a freaking speck in the air, right?
Yeah, an obstacle on your path.
Yeah.
Just
It's just
yeah.
another hater on the internet. But this hater is your dad, right?
Right.
Yeah. And how because of our primal instincts of like, okay, this is my dad. I have half of
Respect your
his.
elder. That kind of
Yeah, but
conditioning.
also on a physical genetic level, right? This is like your lineage. You come from this person on a physical level, literally. You share DNA,
Yes.
right? So it's that physical um instinct to be connected to this person, to get approval from them, because physically you're connected, even though maybe like on a soul level you don't connect. On a physical level you share things. um so and whenever it comes to the physical, it's really difficult to um change, because the earth, this is basically the physical is the earth element, right? The earth element is the thing that changes the slowest. The fastest changing things are like ideas, are the mental information, and then the emotions happen. But then the last thing is the physical. So when we're trying to change like our life, like on a practical level, we can't expect it to change as fast as our ideas.
Right.
You know, you can watch a documentary and be like, okay, I'm gonna be vegan right now. And then you try to do it, and then 6 months later, a couple years later, you're still struggling, and your body's struggling to keep up with the change, right? And then you have all these gut issues, and you're like, why are my guts not doing well?
It's the fried chicken.
Why am I bloated? You know, why do I still have these cravings for chicken nuggets? Right? But that's because your body changes slower. Um and it's important to not judge ourselves because of that. Like to have that intention of like, okay, I want to change and be a better person. I don't see it in the reality right now, but I still want to be a better person, so I'm going to move in that direction and not give up. I think that's very important for the rest of this year because we're not going to see a lot of real changes. Most of the change is going to be in our head, in the way we think, our mentality, our mindsets. And once we ground this new mindset of like, okay, this old world is not working anymore. We need to do better. We need to live a life that's more authentic, that's more healed as well. Because
Yes.
a lot of people are walking around with a broken leg on a psychic level.
Yeah.
You know, they don't see it, but they're walking around like a zombie,
A
and
broken
that's
heart.
yeah,
I deal with this every day. I'm meeting so many people.
yeah.
One guy, he straight up attacked me. Like, I was getting in the elevator with him, and he just started
Uh huh.
yelling, screaming at me. He's like, I'm gonna call the police.
Oh,
It's been like 3 seconds that we've met, and you're already threatening to call the police on me. And I'm like, I'm just
wow.
delivering food. And he's like, you're not allowed to be here. And he just, thank God, I was only going to the second floor, so I got out. And then I was just shocked. Like, I
That's
haven't
ridiculous.
been confronted like this in a while.
Wow.
And then going back down on that same elevator, I met the nicest, happiest guy. We were chatting, and then he was like, "Have a great night." Like, complete opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Like, this
A
guy is
polarization,
terrified.
right?
He's angry, and he's just dumping that shit on me. And then this other guy, he's in a good mood. He's happy to meet someone, and he's sharing those good vibes. So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's this inner game of
Yeah.
observing. Like, it's just, we're so caught up in our minds, you know. We,
But the thing is, this mind that we're caught up in is literally creating the world that we are in.
exactly. Yeah.
And when you interact with a lot of other people, you kind of like go from one world to another world. And right now, it's the reality that we're living in is so interesting because it's like multiple universes coming together, and they're all like this, and it's like, which one are you choosing to be in?
Yeah.
You know, um, after we're done with this freaking conjunction of three major planets, in a couple years, we're gonna see that diverge. So then it'll be a little bit easier. But right now, it's so important to just hold our own um, space
Yeah.
and our own frame.
Yeah.
That's what Aaron Dowdy is talking about so much this year, and I love it. It's like, be strong in your friggin' frame, you know? Like, stand up for the world that you want to be in and create that for yourself, right? Um, it's so crazy. It's crazy. It's like in our parents' generation, the world used to be external.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it still is for
now
them. Like,
it
they're
still
still
is for
living
them.
in that mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like our internal world is everything, and
Yeah.
it's creating the external world.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting, that shift, because now we actually have the power to choose our experiences, and that's not a thing that has happened before.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Ah, it's great. I love this time that we're moving into, even though it's chaotic AF. But I was thinking about it the other day, like that actually means more work for me. So I'm good.
Absolutely. There's always opportunity,
There's
even
so
in the
much
worst of times.
opportunity.
It's just how
Yeah.
how willing are you to take it? It's
Yeah.
work. Like I'm realizing I have so much opportunity, and
Yeah.
the more time I spend distracting myself instead of doing the work, then I'm like robbing myself.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling. So I'm glad we're getting back into this. We're doing this podcast. It's pretty cool.
Yay.
Because it's like you can only consume so much content before you have the urge to create it. That's how I feel because
Yeah.
it allows you to express yourself in any medium. That's what's so cool with the internet is you don't have to do video. You don't have to do audio.
Mm.
You can do writing. You can do photography. There's just music. There's so many ways to express yourself, and this expression becomes your intellectual property, and then you
Yes.
can make a living off that. And
That's so
I'm
crazy.
just blown away
Yeah.
by all the opportunity that so many people are not willing to accept. Like our parents don't see that. Like if you tell your parents I could be making a six-figure income just from all this intellectual property that's generating revenue, they won't get it.
They don't get it.
So they
No.
won't respect the process of creating.
Yeah.
It's more like do work that someone else is telling you to do. But
Yeah.
when you're a creator, it's like you're doing the work you want to do. And it's just a completely different experience, a different lifestyle, and a different joy to your
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah. Because you're
um,
actually tapping to the source of things.
exactly, you're not forcing it. It's just coming through. It's flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's flowing.
Yeah. Because when you're working for someone else, you're tapping into their energy, which is limited because they're a human. But when
Yes.
you're creating, you're tapping into source energy, which is infinite.
Absolutely.
And you're not doing it through other people. It's this, but going back to the, like, religion and church, like this is exactly what we're doing, but on a practical level, right? In terms of generating income to sustain ourselves. Like we're not doing it through a third party anymore.
Yes. Other than the platform you're using to express
Yeah.
it. But it's
But the
like they
platform is
just take a
often
cut.
like
They just take
free,
a cut. Yeah, it's free,
or it's free.
but I mean from the revenue they'll take a cut. But they
Yeah.
at least you have that opportunity to make this visible to everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Everyone with the internet connection.
Yeah. Because you can
And it's
also create your
forever.
own platform as
Yeah,
well.
your own platform. But it's what I'm realizing with intellectual property is that it outlives its creator, more so than
Yeah.
even architecture. All these books we read on architecture about how it's a capture of that time and it lasts. No, IP lasts even longer because it's digital. It doesn't erode. You don't
Yeah.
have plumbing issues. It's like no, it's just this video, audio, photo that can live forever on computers. It's crazy. Like
I hope so.
one of my
I
favorite
hope
artists
so.
is dead, and I just keep listening to this dead guy every day. You know. And
Oh
what's
my
so
god.
crazy, Ziggy, is that he has hundreds of unreleased songs that his family now owns, and they're slowly releasing his music. So he's dead and he's releasing music. And it's just like,
Jeez, that's
wow.
so morbid. That is so morbid. But that's also awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I was when I was reading up on the cycle of time, um on from an astrological perspective, they were mentioning like examples like the pyramids and freaking like artifacts from the Stone Age and stuff. And I'm like, that's the longest like evidence, right? That we have the physical evidence of past civilizations. Like we don't even know about Atlantis, for example, Lemuria, because we don't have physical evidence of them. It's just like all this channeled information. So yeah, you're right. Like information lives on for longer than the physical.
Yep.
So true.
Because you can duplicate it. You can't just duplicate the pyramid, but I can make 1,000,000 copies of this file. And those files can each last infinite. So that's what's blowing my mind with this 2021 internet, is that there's just so many platforms for you to reach people essentially, and each one is a different form. And you got to find the format that works for you. And I'm realizing, video works for me, audio works for me, and music too. Eventually I'd like to get into that, because it's like, even just putting music in your video, it's like, who owns the music? Your video is gonna get demonetized. It's such a big headache that I want to learn how to make music, just so that I can put my own music in the videos and not worry about someone else taking ownership of my IP. Because I have like 5 seconds of someone else's song in like a 1-hour video. Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, I've been trying to get into that. TikTok is really good to get some practice with that. But yeah, if you're on YouTube, it's a nightmare. It's so complicated.
That's it. TikTok integrates it a lot better, because you can put in any song without worrying about you getting demonetized. So
and almost just focusing on the creative part of it, which is what I love. Like, it makes it so easy.
Yeah. And that's why some kids are making more money than their parents, because they figured this shit out. They figured it out. They're not shy of expressing themselves, and you duplicate yourself essentially on the internet. Like, you're like teleporting into people's rooms.
Future.
Even when you're dead, you're dead, and you're like impacting someone's life. Like, I'm still listening to Alan Watts. And he really enjoyed himself. He smoked a lot of good cigars and had some.
It's so crazy. It's like,
good for him. He lived a good life.
Yeah, and it's like in an authentic way, right? Because Jesus, his teachings, the Bible, is not written by Jesus.
It's true.
It's written by his friends. Or not even his friends.
It's like multiple layers of edits. It's just being edited over and over again. So not
even edits. It's like people died.
Ziggy, you're right. Jesus is missing Instagram. Like, too bad they didn't have internet 2,000 years ago, because then we could watch videos of Jesus performing miracles.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the thing. The Jesuses of today now have the internet.
They don't have to deal with Paul coming in and being like, I know better. I knew Jesus, blah, blah. This is what he said. And like reality, and the actual Bible was written like a couple hundred years of later, after everyone who's witnessed the thing has died.
Yeah.
And it's like stories of people telling about the it's like stories of people talking about what they heard from the people when they were, you know, who were actually present in the event, who were probably like 80 years old when they heard the story and couldn't remember half of it.
It's true.
Like, and I'm like, what? Are you actually following this book to the T? I mean, it reads if you that, and then another layer is like, who actually reads the whole book?
Who even understands the book?
Who even understands it? You know, you translate it from Hebrew, so a huge part of the meaning is lost
Yeah,
or
from
from
Hebrew
that
to
translation.
Greek to English and French, it's like
It's crazy. It's like I could barely understand someone even when we're speaking the same language
you're
sometimes.
absolutely right. And I'm noticing that age plays a big impact on the way you communicate. Like
Yeah,
when you're talking with people from different ages, they have very specific vocabulary.
yeah.
And it's like language is constantly evolving, and some people get
Mhm.
latched to certain words, certain expressions that come from that era.
Exactly.
So
And it's evolving so fast now. Like every time I don't talk to my sister often, but every time I talk to her, she teaches me like a couple new words. And I'm like, the other day she was saying like like let's spill some tea, and I'm like, what? Really? I don't. What? Why do you want to spill tea? Like, and then she was like, no, no, it means like, it
let's
means
drink tea.
let's gossip.
Oh, let's
Talk
gossip.
about let's bitch and talk about some shit, you know? Let's talk shit about people, basically. And I'm like, what? And then it took me like a couple of days to get used to that. And then I was like, okay, let's talk, let's spill some tea. And then a while ago it was another word which is a little bit easier to, and she was like, stop being so extra. And I'm like, okay, that I can understand that, but at the same time I still don't understand it like super well. You know, I can kind of mimic and see like, okay, this makes sense. um and it's becoming, over time it's becoming more, wow, guys, I'm seeing numbers so often these days.
That was
It's
five. You
kind
see
of
the five
crazy.
five five. Look at that, three
Yeah,
fives.
yeah, I saw 333 last night.
333.
Yeah, I'm seeing 333, 111 a lot.
And now 555.
Now 555. Yeah. I live in this new place that I move into is a 5 as well.
The
You know what? You,
address?
so okay, so this is a very very awesome thing I learned, okay? So you can find out the numerology of the place you're living in by adding up the number of your, either depending on your apartment number or your house number, depending on where, if you're living in an apartment or a house. So I live on, my house number is 626. So 6 plus 2 plus 6 is 6 plus 2 is 13.
What?
Wait,
It's 14.
it's 14. Yeah, it's 14. It's 14. So then you add 1 and 4 and then you get 5. So I live in a 5 house right now, which explains so much. Because 5 is about change.
Wow.
And um I've moved from 6 houses. Like the past couple of places that I lived in were all 6, which is about alignment. So finding who you are, figuring out if this is right for you. And now I found the right thing, so I'm like changing to it.
Nice.
So you can find out for you what it is, and if you don't like it, you can actually change it as well. which is so interesting. So if you want to change it, basically you have to um, find the number that you want to change it to, depending on the theme that you want, and you have to add a number, and you basically write the number on a piece of paper and then stick it on your door. And this number, when you add it to your apartment number or your house number, it should give you the number that you want. And it actually works. Because when I was living in my last house, I was getting so tired of just looking for my alignment. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to change it to a 4, which is a house of rest, because I needed to rest. I did that, and I slept so well for that duration of time when I had that change on. It was also the time when there was noise in the room next to me, and the after I put the number on, the noise stopped. It was crazy.
Wow. Magic.
Practical magic.
That's pretty
Yeah. It's alchemy in a way. It's like shit they don't teach you in school, you know.
cool. Okay, then let's do an analysis of my current home.
Okay.
3440. What does that mean?
Well, like, what is your house number, the apartment number?
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I don't think I want to discuss that here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then let's do like 34. What? 34.
40.
3440. So you add 3, 4. So that's 11. 11. You have a 2.
Okay.
Let me just check my.
Because
info sheet.
Ziggy, I don't feel so tied to this specific unit. I feel tied to the building. Because I'm eventually gonna expand from this unit.
Well, it's a house of mirrors.
What? My house is full of mirrors. That's crazy. I'm looking at one right now. These glass sliding walls are mirrors. I can see tubs right over there.
Oh.
And I can see all the light reflecting back.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah. Lots of mirrors.
Yeah, well, physically, emotionally, and mentally as well.
Wow. And I've been reflecting people on the street.
Yeah. I guess it's more like you're embodying that. So instead of
I'm embodying being a mirror.
Yeah. Instead of reacting to it, you're embodying it more. Which is great.
Yes.
Mirroring is actually it's like it's a healer thing. Because when you're healing people, you're kind of mirroring to them.
Right. I got it.
Are. Not everyone does that. It depends on how you want to heal. And whenever you mirror, you can add your own filter to it. You can choose what kind of mirror you want to be.
Right.
Do you want to be a concave or convex mirror where you look funny? Or, one of those like mirrors that exaggerates some features, like curved mirrors, that make you look short. Yeah, I think it's so funny. But mirrors are interesting. I think that's what people are doing when they're healing others. That they're basically reflecting to them what they are. And you have the difference between a good healer and a bad healer is like, are you able to help the other person accept their reflection?
But is that your responsibility? Like that comes down to that person.
It's not your responsibility, but
You're just a
it's
mirror.
more like
It's their decision on how they're
it's
gonna react to you mirroring.
yeah, but you can also reflect to them an image that is more pleasant than how they see themselves, right? It's all about perspective. um I think a huge part of being a good mirror, that's a thing, right? How effective of a mirror do you want to be? Do you want to be a cracked mirror? You know, because a lot of the times, like, our inner mirrors are worse than our external mirrors. Maybe our parents reflected to us like a horrible image, and whatever you're doing is better than that, and that heals, right? So just make sure that you're not reflecting like something that's worse, because then you're actually traumatizing people.
Absolutely. Right now I'm
Yeah.
reflecting blue light.
Dear God.
Look,
Yeah.
look at my convex mirrors.
You're reflecting this DJ personality. That's so funny.
Ziggy, these are your headphones.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
It's hooked up to my microphone. It's wonderful. This way the microphone doesn't pick up the audio that I'm
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah. That's so like, after being on so many Zoom calls over the last couple of months, it's like
You need a good
so
mic.
annoying. Yeah. When people use the microphone from their laptop or whatever, and there's feedback,
Oh.
it's like, oh,
Yeah, because it's
jeez.
capturing their speaker, which then goes
Yeah.
back into the mic. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
It was horrible, so horrible.
And you hear the computer fan. It's just like,
Yeah, like, oh my God.
In
Yeah,
that sense, a phone mic is actually better. Because you don't
totally,
have these giant fans and power going.
totally. It's just a lot simpler, I
Because
think.
my laptop is just struggling to run this OBS right now. Having a preview, because I see the preview of what we're doing on the monitor there. That's why I keep looking there. And it's
Yeah,
like my CPU's at 90 degrees Celsius right now.
damn.
And
Oh,
this laptop cam, I want to get a GoPro, just like go 4K.
yeah, but then can Zoom handle that?
Zoom's gonna compress it for sure,
Yeah,
but the quality is still gonna look better. But it's because I want to use the camera outdoors. With a GoPro, I can like just attach it to anything, but I can also hook it up to my laptop and stream its feed on OBS. So it's got that dual functionality. Cause
mhm.
Ziggy, I want to attach it to my motorcycle helmet when I'm like biking,
Oh
or when I
God.
do get a motorcycle, and then I'll be able to create riding videos across the city. Just
That'll be
edit them,
cool.
put some dope music on it. Cause it's like I have so much fun like riding around the city. I'm like I could share this with people. Cause I'm also capturing Montreal at a specific
Hmm.
point in time. Like I go out after curfew and I want to capture that. You know, I need a GoPro to do it.
Oh, you're gonna catch so much shit.
It's just like, well, it's empty. There isn't much actually.
Yeah,
It's so
but
empty.
imagine you run into something significant, and like that lady in Myanmar who just recorded an aerobics video, and there was a coup going on in the background. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that'd be so cool.
I just need to fork over $600 for the GoPro.
You can buy the older version.
It's true, but honestly, I want to get the latest version to get the best features because I know I'm gonna use that camera for 10 years. It's
Not
like
necessarily. Like the latest one is apparently shittier because of they changed a feature where the lens cover is integrated instead of removable.
no, the latest GoPro has interchangeable lenses.
Lens? Oh, is that the 9?
Yeah, the 9. I
Did
want
a
to get the
new one
9.
come out already? Oh my
Yeah, you're
god.
talking
I'm
about
like
the
one
8.
year.
You're still living in
I'm
2019, Ziggy.
Oh god.
We're in 20. Oh, that's 2020. Then there's gonna be the
No.
GoPro Hero 10 this year. So we're at 9, and
What?
it has interchangeable lenses, a bigger battery, um, 240 FPS. It's just like, come on, let's go.
Damn. Okay. That changes too fast. That's too fast.
Yeah.
Ah, I feel like a boomer now. Ah.
The millennials are becoming boomers. So what does that make the boomers? Grandpa and grandma?
Ancient.
Ancient. It's true. Like the people are born with the internet now. Like we were literally the last generation of pre-internet. I mean,
Yeah.
the internet did exist in the early '90s, but it was like it
Not
was
popular.
no, not that it was just like it didn't have the infrastructure it has today. It didn't have YouTube, Messenger. It was just like fucking emails and reading text, you know? Oh, go, wow, you shared a photo. Amazing.
Yeah.
Good
I
job.
think
Like
YouTube came online like 2009 or something.
2006.
2006, yeah.
And then Google bought it for $1 billion, like
So cheap.
500. They fucking stole it. They stole
Yeah.
YouTube. Like YouTube today, I'd say it's probably valued over $100 billion. So that's like 100x your investment. But not just that, it's also just giving Google so much control because YouTube, I think, is the most visited website in the or like first or second most visited
Second.
website in the
Yeah.
world.
It's the second most popular search engine, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Yeah, that's one thing about investing in technology is like it blows up
Yeah, because it's
so
digital.
fast.
It's digital, so you can update it, like you can literally
Yeah.
improve it, and
Yeah.
its running costs and production costs is just like servers and lines of code. Any other
Yeah.
business requires so much capital, so much physical resources to manufacture and ship.
Yeah.
But a digital product, it's like you produce it once, that's your cost, and then distribution is like close to zero.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
That's like
unbelievable
one thing.
how
I feel
big
like
of a
that's
business you could build just with digital content.
Mhm.
Like imagine the restaurant business. Like think about the amount of resources and work
Oh god.
that goes into growing food, preparing food, and delivering food compared to you buying a subscription to a digital service.
It's crazy.
Like
That's another thing I feel like that's shifting that a lot of people are not catching on is like investing in real estate is no longer a good investment. At least maybe for the next 5 to 10 years, yeah. But over like the long term, over our lifetime, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna go down.
I disagree with
Because
that. The prices are gonna go up. It's gonna get really inflated. So it'll be a good investment. But the thing with real estate is that it's actually providing value that other assets can't. Like you can live in it, you can rent it. So
yeah, but the
it's
maintenance.
like I can't eat cryptocurrency. I can't eat my YouTube subscription. You know, I can't
Yes,
live in it. It's just
but it's
like
not gonna be. It's still gonna be like a stable source of income. For example, if you want like passive income or whatever, but I don't think it's gonna be a growing sector, if not collapsing.
Well, that's not what the market is saying right now. Prices just keep going
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Well, it's going to do that and then go down at some point. That's the thing. Especially when the population starts actually shrinking. You know, of course, that's like there's the issue of time there. It might not happen within our lifetime, but over the long term, that's the trend, right? If the population starts shrinking, there's literally going to be less demand for houses. The maintenance cost is still going to be the same or even more, because of all these condos that they're building. That's so easy to destroy. One earthquake and it's gone. So yeah, I think that trend is shifting.
You're right. It's shifting, but I don't see real estate becoming less valuable or less in price. It's just going to become even less affordable over time. Like no one's going to be able to afford real estate than the people who bought it a while ago. So it's
Yeah.
just going to get out of reach for the newer generations of people, and they're going to have to rent. Because, I mean, you can get mortgages, but then what? You want to spend 25 years paying off a house? Like, yeah, I think.
Well, it's also decentralization, right? Or if we can't afford a home, we're just gonna move to the middle of bumfuck nowhere because now we can work remotely, and be able to afford a home. So that's another trend to look out for. That might accelerate
It's happening.
this other trend. It's already
People are
happening.
leaving the cities
Yeah.
because they can work remotely, so they'll just get a bigger, cheaper house.
Yeah.
Location is everything in terms of real estate prices. So
Yeah.
get out of the popular areas and your price drops drastically and you get more land and more square footage of living
Yeah.
area.
Better quality of houses as well.
Mm.
Like condo to detached kind of situation.
It's true, especially if
Right.
you're in a 300, 400, 500 square foot versus 1,000 square foot with multiple bedrooms. It's like a whole different
Yeah.
game. Like, I made the most out of my small apartment, but it still does feel small, you know? And it's like people are cooped up in their tiny apartments right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, some people are definitely leaving for bigger, more secluded homes.
Yeah.
Because it's like just going in my elevator, I'm meeting people, you know? I
A
mean,
lot of people
I personally
actually
love that,
like
but for other
have to
people, they're
leave.
scared. You
Yeah.
know, they're
For
scared. Like
health.
people will tell
Yeah.
me, "Get out of the elevator." You know, it's two-person max, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, that's a part of the experience of having 257 neighbors in one building. Yesterday, I lent
Yeah.
out tubs to my neighbor for 4 hours.
Oh my god.
Because
You're
she
like a
couldn't
cat
cross
right now.
over. She couldn't cross over to her balcony because the ledge is covered in snow. So I just brought her over.
Oh, where's Taps? I'm
Oh,
gonna find
she's
Taps.
sleeping on her bed right
I'm gonna
now.
find
Okay,
find
it's time
a
for the
sleep
tubs to meet.
app.
Let's
I'm
take a
gonna
little
find
break.
Taps. my tops!
Oh,
Oh my
no.
god, so many wires. Look! Oh, so cute! Look, 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 look. Look, this is on the tops. Oh,
Cups.
look, this is Gap. Do you remember Gap? From Toronto? When you had the... She fucking hates it. Yeah, she hates it. I just picked her up from her nap.
They finally meet.
Oh, here you go. So cute. See, Gob got a replacement tops because he missed you. Now there's another tops, but it's not as original as the original
Okay,
tops.
she got away.
Oh, this is the original tops.
The OG tubs.
OG tops.
Wow.
Yeah. Not replaceable, irreplaceable tops.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm glad they finally got to meet. Although they didn't seem to care too much.
Ooh, ooh. Shoot. Whoa. Okay, yeah. Tops had to go. I might have to open the window for her, but we'll see. I'm still her slave.
Same.
As usual.
Balcony slave.
Balcony slave. Ah. Yeah. So, what's up with Gop recently? Any spiritual realizations?
Yeah, it's been exactly 3 years since I quit my job and started working for myself. Remember February 2nd, 2018? And I realized that now I'm doing work that I love, making the same hourly as I did on that site. So that's a huge
No way.
success to me. And so I'm just like really happy. I'm feeling good. I'm taking it easy. I'm not in a rush. Like I'm not in a rush to get rich. You know, not in a rush to be successful, just like going at my own pace,
Mm-hmm.
going down my own path.
Yeah.
Because I have a very different business philosophy than most entrepreneurs, where I'm just wanting to build a business without loans or investment so that I own the whole business. I'll take as long as it takes, but I want it to be my vision at the end of the day. And every dollar you take from other people gives them agency over your business.
Yeah.
So no loans and no investments.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that I've even gone down this path blows me away. So I've just been feeling really grateful about that. That I had the courage and I still have the courage and I'm just like getting better at whatever it is I'm doing. Like just doing work that you love is incredible. That to me is already a huge success. Like I realize I make half as much money as I did 3 years ago, but I'm infinitely happier. Because when I was in that state, I was like super depressed, angry.
Yeah.
You remember, I was like in a really bad place emotionally, and I had that excruciating nerve pain. Now I'm doing 20, 30,000 steps a day. I'm like walking, biking 4 or 5 hours a day. Like I'm in good shape, and I feel strong,
Mm-hmm.
like physically and mentally strong, to the
No
point
pain.
where I do feel pain, of course, but I'm also resting. So like
No
yes,
nerve pain.
yeah, no nerve pain. That's
Yeah.
incredible. It's just muscular pain.
Muscle pain is nothing. Like that's normal.
Yeah, exactly. Like compared to that nerve pain I had, the muscle pain I have today is nothing because I just sleep it off and then I'm good to go the
Yeah.
next day. Or if it's really accumulated, I'll take a whole day off and just like
Yeah.
lie down.
What really worked when I did it was to take a bath.
Yeah, totally. I take 2 showers a day. I'll take one in the morning and then one in the
Mhm.
evening because it really soothes a muscle pain. It's like I literally compared. I took Advil and then after it wasn't doing much. Then I took a hot shower and it had a bigger improvement on my
Yeah.
pain than the Advil. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like why? So now I just take hot showers and sleep as my healing process. So it's like it's
Yeah.
so cool.
That's what it should be. Like healing shouldn't be expensive, right?
Exactly.
Because
And
then you're approaching it with the same mentality as pharmaceuticals.
yeah. And being in a healed state, in a healing state, I'm helping the people I meet. Like I've been
Yeah.
having such good vibes while I'm working that strangers will just start talking to me on the street. And I'll have to get to a point where I'm sorry, I got a delivery to make. Like I gotta go, and they're still like, you know, they're like, I want this good energy, give it to me, and I'm like, so that becomes
Yeah.
part of my spiritual practice as well.
Yeah. You gotta practice the protection magic as well.
Yes,
Because otherwise you're gonna be sucked dry.
yeah,
Yeah. I I was talking to this lady from my intuition development class, and she works like a normal job that seemed like stressful. And she was telling me about she would literally sometimes when she's at work go into the bathroom and set this intention of um, having this protective bubble around her, and it's like this bubble of light that's covered by mirrors, that's covered with Kevlar, that's covered with lead, like hardcore shit, right? Not just like some spiritual hoo-ha, like I want freaking Kevlar in my energy field, you know? And I was like, that's so effective. And I'm actually doing that now because I'm feeling it in the air, like I'm getting my energy sucked away. And it's been working so much, like physically, emotionally, mentally. Um, yeah, practicing the protection magic is so important. There's protection, there's cleansing as well, which is about burning sage and drinking enough water. Like, yeah, drinking like 2-3 liters of water a day minimum, right? Oh god, stop. Yeah, just that, and drinking like filtered water as well.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
when you're in a good place inside yourself, your body heals itself.
Mm-hmm. Like a
What's
lot of people talk about like organic food and blah blah, and they're like not drinking enough water. Like, dude, just drink enough water, and it'll, even if you have like not organic food, the water is gonna flush everything out, right?
yeah,
Um, yeah. Sticking with the basics is so important. It's something that's so important I learned this year. It's difficult as well. Like drinking enough water, sleeping, um, just like setting the intention to feel better and asking for help from your spirits.
hmm,
Yeah. Because these things are free,
that's right.
you know?
Enlightenment is free.
Well, unless you're really fucked up and you need ayahuasca for
Yeah, that's right.
a month, then yeah, it's not free, but if you're okay and you have time to deal with stuff, like, yeah, it can be free. You know, especially with all this information nowadays we have from the internet. Um, you don't really need to pay for information. I feel like if you're selling information, unless you're selling really good information, that's unique and special, which is not becoming less and less of the case now because information is so abundant. Um, you think you're unique and special and you're like the forefront of this field and blah blah, and then 2 months later you're not anymore. Um, so even that is like fleeting. Like I feel like if you're trying to sell intellectual property, it's more like you're selling the human connection over the information. You know, it's like you're selling your style, your twist, your understanding of an information, your flavor of something, instead of just the pure knowledge itself, because that knowledge can be accessed for free, right? And also the convenience of it, right? Explaining something within 30 minutes over like 3 hours. Of course, like depending on how deep you want to go, you can take the 3 hour one if it's really in depth. But if not, then of course everyone's gonna gravitate towards the shorter one. So it's also like a lot of it is about condensing information and still keeping the quality of it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Because the it's like it's almost like we're inventing new rules for business. Um, like for example, if you're in a business of helping other people,
Isn't that every business?
not
You know what?
necessarily.
You're right, because there's arms dealers who are definitely not helping people.
I think what I mean by helping people is like um, specifically helping them grow and be better people. So we're talking like the healers, the coaches, the spiritual helpers, um, but also like even less so like taking care of people, like nurses and doctors, like not so much
Mhm.
them. A little bit if you're talking like psychologists, um, but I'm talking just yeah, helping people grow. Um, there's a lot of nuances and balances that you have to get right, like in terms of how to help people in an ethical way. Are you actually helping them grow, or are you just helping yourself grow by selling them the stuff,
Yeah.
right? Because especially when it comes to like coaching, for example, you're not only just taking their money, you're also taking their time,
Mm.
and time that they could be doing something else, right? Energy as well. And are you actually ensuring that you're teaching them something that will actually help them instead of um, do them harm? Are you attuned to them enough to know that this information is correct for them at this time? Because when it comes to like personal growth and development, there's not really one principle and philosophy to stick with. um like keeping calm may be a good advice for now, but if you're stuck in a narcissistic relationship and you need anger to get you out of the situation, then keeping calm is not good advice, right? um so it's like, are you catering your advice to that person? Are you even able to do that? Because with some online content these days, you don't know who it's getting to. right? Um, so there's a lot of finesse to it, and it's not just about like um, going out there and saying something. Um, there is, however, the basic principle of keeping your vibes high, which I do believe works. That's if all of these other stuff is just too complicated, then focus on keeping your energy high. That always works. So
Yeah, that's what I'm up to nowadays.
yeah, I mean, keeping your energy high is already a very difficult task on itself, right? Um, because it's so like it's such a holistic thing. It's not just about eating well or sleeping well or being on your purpose or being around people who are high energy. It's all of that. Um, and it's not easy to get all of them and balance them because you can be around people who are high energy, but then if the other areas of your life are not balanced, then that one thing that's really developed is actually going to become a disadvantage. Like, if you're around people who are awesome all the time, but you don't have a solid core within yourself, then being around these awesome people is actually going to stop you from developing yourself because you're constantly faced with the awesomeness of other people and comparing yourself to them. And it's difficult for you to see your own light when everyone
Mm,
else's light is so bright,
yeah.
right? So it's that kind of situation where, like, does this advice apply to you at this moment in time? Which is why, like, it's so important to go back to spirituality and have this constant connection to the divine. Because, like, say for example, you go see an astrologer now. In 5 years, you're going to be a different person. And if you still follow the advice from 5 years ago, there's going to be some problems. But if you have a constant connection to the divine, you're able to be like, okay, today I'm going to like pull my own tarot cards and see what the messages are for me right now. That's going to be a much better, that's going to give you information that's much more accurate to you at this moment in time. So it's important to develop this connection, I think.
Yeah, and maintain it.
Yeah.
Because we keep losing connection. It's like a crappy internet connection. Our connection to the divine, to the present, is just like flickering.
It is. And it does flicker because for good reasons sometimes. Because sometimes we can rely too much on validation from this source, right? And then we don't validate ourselves
Yeah.
and we don't build up our own strength and we become codependent on the divine. It's so crazy, right? Our dysfunctional relationships project everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
It's crazy. It's like that 0 to 7 years old like sets up everything, and now you spend the rest of your life trying to fix it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think this year has been really tough as well, particularly because of not having that external distraction, uh, and just also really becoming self reliant on everything, right?
Yeah.
like no ayahuasca ceremony,
Cancelled, illegal,
canceled, or just
crime.
can't do it. Um, and like I realized for a long time, like I was using that as a crutch,
Yeah,
right? Instead of developing my own spirituality and connection to spirits, like using psychedelics as a crutch. That can be a thing, I think, which we're moving in more of a realization now, I think, as more people do it. Because before it wasn't even such an open topic to talk about. And I feel like soon, upcoming, there's gonna be a wave of people who are addicted to weed
it's
and
happening
suffer.
right now.
Yeah,
Weed is blowing up, it's going mainstream. Like,
yeah.
it's essentially becoming the new alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more socially acceptable, but still to this day, alcohol is number one and the most socially acceptable. Even like smoking cigarettes is becoming less and less a thing for people.
Yeah,
Like, people are, you're more likely to catch someone smoking a joint than like
yeah,
a cigarette.
yeah. And it's because of the level of emotional pain that we're having in the
Yeah,
world,
weed
right?
weed is good at like dealing with pain,
Yeah,
including physical pain. Like, one day I was just so sore, I'm like, oh, I really need some weed.
yeah. That's gonna be a trend for a while, sadly. That will maybe even need this to live.
But I don't see it as a bad thing, because I'd rather see people on weed than on alcohol any day. You know, because people have been
Yeah,
taking drugs to self medicate forever. It just, the drug of the time, the thing that's in, is
yeah.
changing, and some drugs are definitely better on you than other drugs. So I'd rather have a
Hmm.
society hooked on weed than on alcohol.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd
But
rather have a
yeah,
society that's less hooked
yeah,
on things.
or society that's more awakened, more aware, more present. They don't even need this
Yeah,
shit, because it's like, wow,
but
your
it's
base level is so high
yeah,
that you don't even need the drug at that
yeah,
point. But that's like really far away, because there's still a lot of suffering, and that suffering is spilling through to the next generation and the next generation. So it's like a spinning wheel with so much momentum, like suffering, that
yeah,
it's gonna take decades for it to even slow down. And in the meantime, people are gonna smoke weed or do
yeah.
LSD and all these psychedelics and
It's like a painkiller.
alcohol. Yeah, and prescription meds. And I was watching a documentary on amphetamines.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that Ritalin, um, or it's like these focus drugs people are taking, and a lot of them feel pressure to take it to be successful. It's so crazy. And then they did a study to see if people are actually more successful, and they're like, it's the same performance, and just like it just makes you feel better. but um
Yeah,
but even just feeling better can have a big boost in your confidence, which then actually does improve things. But I see the point you're making of like, why are we hooked to these things? Like, why
yeah,
can't we cultivate those feelings within ourselves without any drugs? Yeah, totally. But that's like at a pretty high level of awareness from the population, which is not there at all.
yeah. I feel like at this point, the only practical way to do it is to um, move somewhere far away and start your own community of people where you can actually select who you want to be around. Um, because there's so much like bad negative energy floating around in society that if you're in that big conglomerate, um, it's difficult to not feel the pain.
Right. I'll absolutely. Like, I feel
Yeah,
it daily when I'm encountering people. I
yeah,
absorb a bit of their pain, and it's my
exactly.
own inner work to clear that pain.
Yeah. We're like emotional recycling machines, going around right now. And it's overwhelming because like your body, your physical body can only process so much before stuff accumulates.
Yeah.
And then you're self-medicating, and it's not a long-term strategy, right? um like I feel like the thing, more truths are going to come out about the effects of weed as well, in terms of the long-term health effects, impacts, because it does impact like your digestive system,
Yeah, and your lungs.
your lungs. It changes the acidity of your body, and like it kills cancer in that way, but it also promotes other stuff to grow. So we're gonna see more and more of that, I think, as research comes out. Because right now it's all undercovers. I feel like a lot of people um, have problems um, that are caused by weed. They don't know it, and they actually are using they're using weed to heal the problem that weed is causing.
Right.
Because that's another thing, is that weed is not just, every single plant actually has a spirit, and weed especially is a medicine spirit. So there is a time for weed and there is a time for not no weed, just like ayahuasca.
Yeah.
You can't just be on ayahuasca every day. um at some point it becomes unhealthy to throw up so much. So I feel like we're gonna, maybe like even Western medicine is not gonna understand this part, because they are not taking that spiritual view of things. Um, so definitely like shamanism in the future. This more alternative way of healing is gonna be huge, because pharmaceuticals, or at least that way of thinking about drugs and medicine, is just not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
I need to get more water.
Ziggy, let's call it a day.
Okay. You want to finish with the balls?
The
My very
balls?
expensive
Let's
ball.
do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, Gop.
You're welcome, Ziggy.
We're setting this up. Making it happen.